This is the Epilogue Audio Experience.
Hey guys, welcome to Sculpted, a design podcast where some of the leading designers around the world come together to unveil design layer by layer. I'm your host Siddhant, and I'm here to do some deep digging into design thinking and process with some super cool speakers. Today we are not going to discuss about graphic designing or UI UX, but a design domain where the design gets converted into a physical system or a product. So our topic for today is automobiles and industrial designing. And to join me in this conversation, we have Zofia as our guest. She has worked with Mercedes, Hyundai and Volkswagen in the exterior designing team, and currently she's into teaching industry from the past 3 years, spreading her knowledge to all the aspiring industrial designers. Welcome to Sculpted, Zofia. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me here, and I'm excited to talk with you and with your audience about the automotive design and my experience. Thanks for invitation.
So, Zofia, what brought you to industrial designing domain and specifically to designing cars?
Well, we have a specific education system in Bratislava, Slovakia, and you apply for general 3D design studying, and you have 1 year to decide which faculty you want to go. So you can join industrial design, experimental design, car design, or interior architectural interior design. And from the first year, what I've seen there, what the guys were doing in the transportation design studio, that was amazing. They had such a great collaboration with the Volkswagen, Audi. Oh. They were really in deep connection with the industry, and I really wanted to join the studio and the team and to get in touch with these companies. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's really great to hear. So basically, in the last year, you have this specialization where you can choose fields, right?
Yeah, it's after first year you have the specialization, and then you spend 5 years studying the specialization.
Okay, so you never thought of going for graphic designing or any digital designing, which is really trending now?
No, I really wanted to do something physical, but with the digital tools. Mm-hmm. And we have the best equipment in our studio. We have 5-axis CNC milling machines, lasers. We have all these technologies. We are the richest studio in the whole school, because we have this collaboration with Audi. When you have a collaboration with Audi, they really pay you good for the semester.
Right.
So this was really challenging and exciting to work with and to learn. Yeah.
Oh, so when you say you had this collaboration with Audi while doing assignments or projects, did you have any influence of Audi in your projects? Do you have to design anything for Audi or that sort of?
We had special mentor from Audi, Clement Rosnagel, and he was coming every other month, I would say, and we were showing him our progress, our portfolios, our processes, and he was mentoring us. And then we went to Ingolstadt in Germany, where is the Audi design studio, to present our sculptures. But it's really cool because my school is focused more on sculptures and art, car design, than the real production. Pforzheim is more focused on really car design, and we are focused on transportation design, which means you can really do anything. You can do car out of a glass. My schoolmate, he built a glass car because it's super artistic, and for Audi it was interesting to see how he used the light and glass and all these elements together. So maybe they can use it as a sculpture, let's say in the headlamp, so it doesn't have to be so practical.
Oh, okay. So being a really outsider to this industry, this may be a really lame question, but what's the designing process? As in, do you use digital designing, or still it's heavy on, physical sketching and modeling and sculpting?
From what I can see, it's moving to the digital direction. So yes, everybody is still sketching on a paper. You need it when you're 3D modeling in a computer. Mm-hmm. But I see more and more guys, they skip the ideation Photoshop rendering phase, and they just jump directly to Blender, Maya, or whatever soft polygonal 3D software. And they really express themselves super fast because like imagine like really good rendering takes like 6 hours to sketch in Photoshop from scratch, from zero.
Whoa,
And you
that's-
that's like when you really want to create like amazing highlights, and you have one sketch, and then the same, like you have 6 hours and you build a whole model, like it's a sculpture, it's a sketch, but you build it in Blender, and then you have how many cool pictures as you want, renders. So
Right.
yeah, it's like, it's shifting.
Okay. So it's still more on the traditional side, or it's very much balanced, I see.
Yeah. It's like,
Okay.
you can choose, like you can choose whether we want to really be a sketch monkey and sketch a lot, or you really want to sculpt in 3D. But it's good if you have the knowledge in both, I think. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
For the all young designers, what 2 or 3 softwares they really need to learn or have skills if you want to get into this industry?
Learn Photoshop. That's a basic. Or like Sketchbook. If you know Sketchbook, you will learn Photoshop later. But Photoshop is the industry standard. And then also learn Blender. That's free, like zero excuses, like you download for free. And if you're a student, then I would really recommend check Autodesk products, because like they have this like special offer when you prove that you are a student, I don't know, with your ID badge or whatever, then they give you the software for free for the year you prove you are a student. So that's really great. Then you can learn Autodesk Maya. That's basically like advanced Blender with some really cool and more details tool that is also great for animation. Then I would also recommend Autodesk Alias, but it's really like heavy program and really professional. So that takes time to learn. Then VRED. VRED is again automotive industry standard for renderings. And then if you are really like talented and you want to learn more about rendering, you can learn Unreal. Unreal is for the real-time renderer, and it's also great for virtual reality. And it's also open source. So, and like what I see, like the automotive industry are opening jobs for the VR guys and virtual reality experts. Yeah, if you don't know how to sketch properly, but you know you are really good in the virtual reality, you would get hired, because there are not so many people doing this. Yeah.
That's the future. I'm sure it's growing really fast.
Yeah.
So when you said augmented reality and virtual reality, what influence does it has in designing process, or actually in industrial designing? So like developing finalized models and trying to view it through it, or how is it?
It's, I think, like we can see like two paths how automotive industry is shaping. Because I was in Volkswagen 2017, and they had like 3 guys focusing on developing new software in virtual reality, like Volkswagen software. And today I've checked and they have 40 guys. So it's like growing rapidly. And like we have these 2 paths, like one path, like you create in a virtual reality, let's say in the Gravity Sketch or in flying shapes, and then you present, and then the Unreal is for presenting. And what the Corona showed us, it was like they couldn't like come, of course, to the office because of the pandemic and the stuff. So they were forced also to present in the virtual reality, because then your boss can be in Japan, you are in Germany, and then you can meet in the virtual room and see the car in 1-to-1 scale. So
that's really interesting to know that this current situation has boomed so much virtual reality and augmented reality.
It's really accelerated the whole processes and fasten up the whole virtual reality system, I think. So yeah.
Yeah. Even I mean, if there are any car launches in this situation, I'm sure all the products like Apple or other manufacturers are also doing online events, and I'm sure car manufacturers are also planning those.
Yeah, and actually, you really get like hyper realistic experience there. So because imagine before, like usually they build a car in a clay, like. The process is like you sketch something, you model in 3D, and then you mill it in clay. But let's say like one milling costs, I don't know, 30 or 40,000 euros. It's super expensive. And you should have like, I don't know, like 15 clay models during the process. Usually, let's say golf, it takes 5 years to develop. Like the whole process is around
really
5 years. It's super expensive. And like, I'm not saying like clay will disappear completely, but you can maybe skip some of these clay check models and replace them with the virtual reality models. And you see, like the clay is not the reality because, like, it's matte. It's like this brownish color, and you don't see the materials. But in the virtual reality softwares, you see like perfect highlights, stitching details, like leather, everything in the.
It can be really detailed,
yeah.
Even the colors,
So, like, what's closer to reality? Like the perspective is a bit different in the virtual, but like the materials and like the experience, the visuals. Yeah, they are closer to reality than a clay. Yeah.
Whoa, that's really interesting. No, being an outsider from this industry. So Zofia, you have worked with all the big brands, Mercedes, Honda, and Volkswagen. So what's your journey? Going through all these brands. How was your experience?
Like my first experience, it was in Mercedes-Benz in the advanced studio, and like, wow, that was great. Like. They were designing the F15 at the time there. And yeah, that was really like, I really want to do this because like they were super friendly and they were so open-minded. And like, yeah, it was like a dream come true for a student, for intern. So that was great. And I learned a lot. And my mentor, he was the guy who designed the Avatar Mercedes, with the Omni wheel, with the the ball wheels and with the scales on the hood. So yeah, I mean, he was great and he taught me a lot. And then I've been in Hyundai and I was doing my bachelor, and it was close to Frankfurt in Germany. So it was also a great experience. And then I went to Italy. That was also like different in Pininfarina. So we were like designing some Ferraris. And that is pretty cool. Like in Italy, like in Germany, I was able to join every meeting and to see everything. And in Italy, I was like closed in special room and couldn't see nothing. So I was just like sitting there and sketching, and sometimes somebody came, but I couldn't go to the studio to see the projects. But yeah, it was cool.
So to all the aspiring designers, industrial designing is not scary. This is really, really fun.
It's fun. Like, it can be stressful, but yeah, it's fun. Like when you're intern, I'll go for it. But it's not like I've sent one portfolio and I got the offer. It's like I sent 40 or 50 and I got like 1 or 2. And like everybody, what I see, like my students, they're like, I will send it next year when it's better. I will send it next semester. Oh my God, don't do this. Just send it. Like send as many as you can, and yeah, you will see like how it works.
So like what's the benchmark and what's the process to applying such big brands? Because I'm really sure that it's really tough to get in.
Yeah, it's really tough. From what I can see, there is around 3,000 of car designers around the world. And every year we have 1,000 transportation design graduates. So that's really tough. Yeah.
It's competitive,
That's really, like, the competition is crazy. And from what I can see, it's like, really, I see a lot of like Indian and Asian guys. They're really pushing it.
Okay.
Yeah, because like in 90s, Central Europe was pushing it because we tried to escape, I don't know, from the communistic period. Then I've seen a lot of Russian, like trying to escape the circumstances in Russia, and Belarusians and Ukraine designers. And now I see it's like more focused on the East, and like they really want to get into the industry. So yeah, I mean, in Europe, I think like when you see it, like you see it on Instagram, Behance and everywhere, it's like, you have to work. You really have to work on the portfolio.
Stuff,
yeah. And you have to network. It doesn't matter where are you, but like you have Instagram and you have LinkedIn. So just don't text somebody like, oh, you are in BMW. Can you give me an internship? But like be friendly and try to connect with them in a polite way. Just comment on their posts, like see what they are doing, and then maybe ask for some advice or something. But you can really get scouted through social media. So focus on your social media presence.
So keep expressing, keep showcasing your projects on all these social media platforms.
Yes. Because like when Yanko Design, let's say, feature you in their websites or like design or like, I don't know, car design world. So yeah, then you have a chance. Yeah.
Yep. So when I see your portfolio or your timeline with internships and jobs, so I see that you have worked on both the sides. I mean to say is that all the premium brands like Mercedes, and then you have also worked in Hyundai. So what differences have you noticed in thinking process while developing a model in these two brands like Mercedes and Hyundai? Because since the target audience is so different, right?
Oh yeah. So in the Mercedes, you really don't have to focus on the budget. Because like, and I've been in the advanced studio, so it is really like the advanced studio. It's built to design the show cars, so you can go wild, yeah. So you imagine like the avatar Mercedes, like you really can create something out of the world, and it's okay because they will find a way how to
market it,
to build it. And in Hyundai, then. When I've been there was a Peter Schreier. Peter Schreier is the head of both Kia and Hyundai at the time he was. And they really wanted to change Kia. It was like the sporty version. And they tried to push like Hyundai to more to the premium sector. Okay. So, so there was like a time like they were discussing a lot about the grille and what's the signature. Because like before Peter Schreier came there, they really didn't have an identity as a brand, so they were reshaping it a lot, and yeah, it was also like it was more like package focused. So it was like I sketched something, like I sketched, I don't know, Tasson or something. I was like, okay, but it wouldn't work to production. And the Mercedes was really like, show us some cool ideas, like don't care so much now about the proportion and like about the real technical details. It was like really ideas. And in Hyundai, it was like more like the production, real world, and real
practical,
cars. Yeah.
I mean, on the Mercedes side, it's really amazing to have such flexibility and freedom to design.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you said that in Mercedes you have total flexibility and in Hyundai it's more practical design. So my question is that what's the thinking process like for Mercedes? Do you keep your target audience in between and then develop a car, or is it that you develop a model first and then try to market it? Do you try to solve problems, or you just make a car and then
in the beginning, that was advanced. Yeah, and like in general, you have like the meetings with the marketing team, production team, engineers, and you set the focus. Like, okay, this car is for Asia, this car is for Africa, this is for Europe. Like this is our target audience, and then you have the sketch phase. Let's say for 1 year, and it's like you are in competition, let's say, with 16 designers, and you are presenting in front of the chief designer, and they are always like choosing less and less, unless there are like two like last designers, and then they decide like the final model. And usually then like who wins is like the second place designer like help him. Let's say like he designed the rear, somebody designed the front. So it's never like a solo job. Yeah. And then you really have to focus you have to follow the package and the engineers, and it's really tough because like you have a lot of discussion, and these are not easy discussion with the engineers, because like we designers like, oh, but this is so ugly, and then the engineers are like, but come on, like you cannot make it like 3 centimeters longer, because then you cannot open whatever the trunk, and so it's like it's really a lot of negotiation, and there is a lot of a law, like European law in the cars. That's why we have the soft nose, because a lot of the frontal like shape, it's based on how insurance companies works, and the front needs to be from plastic. Then you need a bumper, so it's like safe. So it's really, you cannot shift a lot in the production cars, and it's because of the law and the insurance companies. And when we are working in advanced, like imagine all these Renault concept cars, like how the front is pushed inside. Like, come on, like how this can work with our European law? Like how this can. So it's really different. The concept cars, they're like supermodels. They wear all the cool, like unwearable clothes, and they're like sculptures on the catwalk, and the advanced and the show cars are the same. You wouldn't drive them necessarily on the street, but you really want to show off like the latest technologies, latest trends, like how cool you can design, like how expensive maybe you can design. Like,
I can clearly see that there is a lot of cultural implications while designing. So how one can, consider all these cultural implications while designing a model for Asia or for Europe? Do culture really have such implications while designing, or is it very negligible?
That's a good question. That's, I think, why the companies, they hire a lot of international designers, because in Volkswagen you have like the Russian, Polish, Asians, like Koreans, Indians, I don't know, like a really like huge mixture. And it's a really funny, like somebody from different culture can really hit the essence of the market in different culture.
Oh,
let's say like
that's interesting.
Some American can really hit the like how it should look for the Indian market. Like somebody really like that's the sketch, that's the design, and you really don't know like who will or how will like appear somehow on the paper or on the. But in Hyundai, they were quite strict, because they also had a design center in Korea, and they tried to keep it separated. So Koreans, they were designing for Korean market, and Europeans for European. So it's like different companies, they have like different opinion about this.
Okay.
Like how to design for the target audience in the different culture.
Right. Because I was reading this article where, so while developing for Asian markets, they do consider the average height of the driver, because when it comes to average height of Asians and Europeans, it's very different, and that's how they calibrate their suspensions.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So what are the main challenges designers face while keeping in mind the engineering limitations? Because I know designers can get really crazy with creativity, but they have to be really practical while developing design. So what are these challenges you faced while developing any sketch, or like how one can keep these limitations in mind and sketch a very practical design?
I mean, like what's challenging, I think it's really like they expect you to be creative, like let's say every day. And like to bring some new ideas. But like people say they get used to it. Like that's like kind of, they change it to a routine so they can really produce a lot of ideas. Then also like the challenge is how you really translate the 2D sketch or 2D idea to the 3D. And you probably will, like you will have to learn a lot after school when you get a first job, but it's normal, like that's everywhere. Because it's different. Like we cheat on the wheels, on the greenhouse. Like you really make the sketch like flashy, and you cheat on everything, and the picture looks cool. And then you are supposed to work with a package. So like for the junior designers, I would say that's a tough problem to get used to the package and to work with the millimeters. Like in some sense, I think it's we can describe it as a graphic design, because like when you look at the side view, that's really about millimeters. That's like how detailed like smartphones are. Like the car industry is really going in such a details, and the positioning, the lines, details, headlamps, everything. So that's challenging. And then also like people think like we sketch like, I don't know, 70% of time, or we are doing these creative things like 70% of time. And the reality is you are creating, sketching, 3D modeling, I don't know, 10 to 20% of time. Then you have a lot of meetings and a lot of like clay correction. So it's also like the time management, and probably like later on you should learn the language. Like you should be really good in the German language if you are working in Germany, because then the engineers, they will probably not speak English
that's
with
really
you.
Insightful. Yeah.
So also the language can be a barrier. And yeah, the competition is tough, and it's like the politics behind it is also not always very transparent. Because imagine, like, let's say, I'm not sure if every company has it like this, but let's say you get 2 promille per every Golf,
Okay.
which is sold by Volkswagen. If you won the design contest, like if you are the designer of new Golf, I don't know, 8. So then you have like these 2 promille, and like, let's say how many millions they sell of the Golfs. So imagine you really get the rich when you design the Golfs, and the competition is super like tough and intense.
Yeah.
So it's not clear like competition every time. So
As it seems, right?
yeah, so yeah, I can really see some people, they burn out and then they leave. But again, I mean, like, it's not mandatory. You have to stay in one company. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, like, there is a lot of possibilities. You can also work for design agencies, and probably you can work also in industrial design if you are good in car design, and vice versa, probably. Yeah.
Okay. So when you said that it takes about 1 year to design and you have to present it then, so what's the usual tenure for a design to that gets into a manufacturing stage? Like, what's the usual time frame from a design to execution level?
4 to 5 years. So yeah. And then let's say like the first year is creative year, like when you sketch and you have presentation and they tell you to change something and you really go into the competition. And maybe after a year and a half, they choose like the designer who will lead the whole process. And then you start to work with the packaging, with the engineers, and then you have also like a track, and then they are like focused on the last years, like on the production, on the A-class surfacing. And A-class surfacing, they're focusing on the perfect highlights, perfect surfacing, which goes to the production. So they really, because like in the car, there is also something like a gray mess. And that's, let's say, like you have interior designers, they design the inside of the car, they have exterior, and the mess between, like how everything clicks and assembles together. So this also takes a lot of time to think through and to manage the production, like how you assemble all the pieces, because like how many pieces there are. So yeah. So it's
to put everything in sync, it's the toughest task. I mean,
yeah, and to manage everything. I mean, even though you have the same platform, you know it from the beginning, but yeah, it's really. So it's around 5 years, and for show cars, it's less because they don't go to production usually.
Right.
That's around 2 years. Yeah.
5 years are too much. I mean, almost a half decade. So how can be your design
fresh?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's like how you can pre-see like what will be trendy and what will be like modern in 5 years.
Exactly.
You are sketching in the first year. Oh, that's really tough. And how you make the new Golf looking better than the last Golf. That's really
one of hell of a challenge.
That's really a challenge. And honestly, I don't know. They really have to push themselves, like, to find the new ideas. And what I see is like a lot of designers. Okay, we want to do the design, but they are also like great photographers, great interior designers. They paint, or they really have some side creative hobby or hustle or something, and they really try to observe the world from different perspective. And yeah, they have graphic design background or something, and they're also like bringing these experiences together. But it's also like the final decision is on the chief designer, so he or she should be able to see like what will be trendy in 5 years. That's really that's a responsibility, because you are responsible then for the sales and for everything. So I don't know, like they are really tough, the chief designers. Yeah.
It is, but is car industry that dynamic? As in, of course, your car designs can't be timeless, of course, but then you have to really think futuristic, because then your design gets into execution or marketed in 5 years. Yeah. Wow, that's really challenging.
Yeah, that is. The process is really tough.
what kind of parameters or kind of research goes into, to actually find out what design will be really good in 5 years? How do you guys research?
It's like in the beginning phase, like you really have you think about, I think, technology and also beauty and sculpture at the same time. So you really go for what's your aesthetic. But you really need to also know your chief designer, what he or she likes, because
yes,
it's not a solo trip. Like, I like this and like the new Volkswagen will look. It's like, if you are really smart, you know the taste of the chief designer, and you are really trying to get what he or she describes in world. We want to be a family focused car. It's like a car for a cottage. It's like when you can go outside with your family, you go to countryside. We are not like designing now a premium luxury, whatever SUV. So you really need to learn how to listen and to know what they mean by words, and then you try to translate it into the visual design, I think. And also you think about the technologies. I don't know, let's say in Volkswagen, they were trying to illuminate the logo at the time when I was there. I was like, okay, let's do this. Yeah, nobody's doing it. So you really try to think. And then it was like, okay, let's do it like this. And then you have the engineers. Can we do it? Like, can you design new LED lightings or something, like to have really this super fine lines in the logo or something like this. So, and also you see, that's why they do the show cars, like the BMW Next 100 with the movable wheels, like with this pattern, like this polygonal pattern. On the
yes.
we really want to try to explore the newest trends and technologies because they have the money to do so. So like everybody's like, it's so unpractical, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, no, like you learn so much. And that's why, I don't know, Slovakia cannot like develop an automotive industry out of nothing. Like they have so much knowledge and there's so much like brain power behind like all these processes.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I was always curious why these big brands have concept cars. I mean, what's the objective? Is it the objective only thing that you need to position yourself as the best in technology or very futuristic? Or is it something else also?
It's also like you show off the muscle, like look at us, like what we can do. But you are also like, I think, creating the technology which can be like used in next decades maybe.
Right.
And you really, you try to get the best people to work for you and develop the softwares, technologies, materials in the color and trim. They really I mean, like, it's so crazy. Like they had such a ecologic and like sustainable materials decades ago, but like maybe it's still so expensive to produce. I don't know, let's say coconut exterior panels, or I don't know, like something like from natural fibers, and which is even more durable than aluminium, but it's still so expensive to produce. So they're trying to find a way how to get it to production, but they really need to research years before they go to production with this. So it's really like, I don't know, Peugeot, what is doing like with materials. It's crazy. Like, I mean, so many opportunities. It's not like everybody thinks like we just sketch, but there are so many different positions where you can find yourself. Like, are you really good in rendering or 3D modeling? Are you good with materials and in the research or marketing? Like,
so it's not just sketching.
No. Like color and trim, like that's kind of a cool department. Like when I was in Hyundai, like the girls there, usually a lot of like women work in the color and trim, and they were also like, oh, okay, let's go shopping for a day. And they brought like the variety of different materials, clothes, fabrics, whatever they found interesting, and they were like doing these physical mock-ups there, and it's pretty cool. Like they pay you to go shopping. Yeah.
So from all this experience of yours, what were your learnings from these all projects, and what can help our audience? Like any 2 or 3 key learnings you can share with our audience.
Like, don't listen to everybody. Just find somebody you trust, because you get really overwhelmed. Like everybody will stopping by your desk and by your desk and telling you what to do. So just really try to find some mentor I really try to be present on the social medias and like try to be like social and connect with people in like a polite manner, and really focus on your portfolio. Focus like if you can get the feedback on your portfolio, that's crucial. Focus on new ideas, technologies. Maybe you don't need to build, like I build like 3 or 4 scale models, and it's not so like you don't need them so much in your portfolio. You really need the 3D and the digital skills. So it doesn't matter if you build a model. So let's really focus on your digital skills and learn how to do a 3D model properly and how to render it. So it's easy to communicate your ideas, your creativity. So yeah.
Okay, that's really insightful for our audience. I'm sure it would be really helpful. So coming to a part where we talk about where this industry is going forward. So what does the future hold for car designs?
I think they will need to focus more on the user experience, and the interior will change a lot with the LED panels. And yeah, I mean, also I think like the autonomous cars, like it is in the future. We don't know when, but yeah, it will come. And this brings a lot of opportunities for designers, because like when you design an exterior and it's really like timeless, like it's minimal, it will probably last. It can last like 5, 6, 7 years, and it still looks fresh. But what we see is like interiors that in interiors you can see like how fast it can age. So So now like with the autonomous and like with all these technologies, we really can think about how the future mobility will look like. It will be really like an office on the wheels, or it will be your bedroom or playground for your kids. Like what's the mobility? Or people are not willing to buy cars anymore. They want to share the cars. Like what's the future? So we probably will need to focus on that. And there is also like one tendency. Well, I think like designers, like we were thinking about cars like sculptures, but maybe like dying, like this perception of a car slowly. It's not like a sculpture anymore, but really it's a product. It's like our servant, and how we will use it. We don't want to spend so much time in traffic jams. We want it to be like helpful and pleasant for us to spend the time inside. And maybe it really can be like in exterior office out of your house, and you just go there and you work there and you just come back at evening. So yeah, it will probably change. And yeah, so the user experience, like how will how we will feel in the car, in the interior, like that's like, gonna be because like it will be super connected. Also, it will be like a smartphone on the wheels, maybe. And you really need to think through it so you don't crash, I don't know, or you don't have an accident, because there is so much on the dashboard in front of you when you are driver. Or it will be fully autonomous, so it's a leisure, playful activities. So
that's the future.
And they will focus more on the user, maybe. Also they should be more empathetic, like let's focus on this family and their needs, and like how we can make it as pleasant as possible for them to be on the wheels. So
like more personalized and more niche oriented.
More niche.
Okay, so since electric cars are also the future, is there a difference in the approach and design process of electric cars? Like do the exterior designers need to consider anything while developing electric car design?
Oh yeah, there are like some changes in the silhouette, and also you don't need such a massive air intakes and the grill.
Yes.
So that's what you can see. Like Tesla is like almost like a blind, one simple surface. You really don't need so much cooling air for the batteries, like as you need it for the engine. So but this is what I was like talking. I don't know, you see the Mercedes EQS, and they are still kind of a normal, like they look kind of normal petrol cars. So it's not such a massive difference. And I'm still not convinced that it's more ecological, because like it's like blah, blah, blah. We have this emission, carbon dioxide. Okay. But then you have the battery and you have the acid inside, like the lithium acid, let's say. What are you doing? How do we recycle this? This is so expensive. What do you do with the battery after 5 years when it's like damaged, when it's like off?
Yeah.
How do we recycle these new technologies? I was on some lectures with the engineers, and they were saying like it's not cheaper, it's not more like economical or ecological solution than the petrol. It's like I'm not sure this is like more a lobby or like the direction they want to go, but I'm not convinced it's like so eco-friendly as they claim to be.
That's how it's marketed, but I'm sure it's not 100% ecological. Yeah,
it's not a clean power, or like how to try to market it. And then you have also like, we had a semester we tried to design, like students tried to design the hydrogen cars, hydrogen fueled. Then you have then you need to mix it also with the electric engine, because you get the reaction and then you have a water. So then we had a crazy concept like, okay, so from this reaction we will get a lot of water. So we will... Some students were like, we will supply the kids in Africa with the water. I was like, okay. So, yeah, but we have
optimistic.
some. Yeah. You can also see in production some hydrogen cars, but I'm like, why we don't focus more on hydrogen and we focus on electric cars? I don't know. Yeah. So we will see.
That makes me really curious, now. Because I was the one who was really inclined towards, electric cars. But now when I see from your perspective, from your insights, that completely changes my perspective towards electric cars. So, yeah.
I mean, we will go to the electric because there is so much money infused with the money, and like the whole technology is like changing. But they also, what I've heard is they developed like in 100 years, they developed like more in 100 years, they developed the petrol engine to the like the finest, to the like the perfect state, like to the perfect, like, I don't know, 4 liters per 100 kilometers. So they really developed the technology, and then it was like, okay, and now what? So give us a new technology so we can create something new, we can improve it, and we can create a better solution. So it's also like, we don't know like how the future electric cars will look. Maybe they will reduce, like, but from what we can see today, it's not so eco-friendly as it looks on the first sight. Yeah.
Right. That was really amazing to know. I mean, that's really insightful. This was a really amazing conversation I had with you, and
thank you.
Thank you so much, Zofia, for coming here.
I enjoyed it very much. Thanks for the invitation. Yeah, it was a pleasure to talk with you. Yeah, you are a good interviewer, and you have a good question, and you are a great listener. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much for that.
Anytime. Thanks.
And that's a wrap for this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have liked today's discussion, do comment your thoughts and rate us on Apple Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to Sculpted, the design podcast on Epilogue website or wherever you get your podcasts from, so that you get notified about our upcoming episodes. I shall catch up with you on our next episode. Until then, take care and keep designing.